Episode 161.
It's expected now. I expect to see the changes. I expect the technology. I expect to have to go to training to read almost every day. Fortunately, now it's online. I don't have to dig the books out, wait for the magazine to come in each month. I can read so much online now, but it's an ongoing educational experience to work on cars. And there was a guy I used to work for many years ago named Clem York, had a little shop over in Pasadena. And he said, John, if you don't understand how it works, you'll never be able to figure out how to fix it.
Welcome, aftermarketers, to Remarkable Results Radio. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results. Welcome, aftermarketers. You're listening to Remarkable Results Radio podcast, and this is Carm Capriato. And this is the place where ideas, insights, expertise, trends, and personal achievements is served up twice per week. Today I'm with John Miller from Freedom Automotive right here on episode 161. And as always, see the show notes at remarkableresults.biz/E161 for more on John Miller. This episode is brought to you by Federal Mogul Motor Parts, and they're the reason you enjoy these interviews twice per week. When you need innovation and quality, you need Federal Mogul Motor Parts, with brands like Moog, Felpro, Wagner Brake, Champion, Seal Power, FP Diesel, and more. They're the parts techs trust. Find out more at fmmotorparts.com. Now, here's a listening idea. Do a lunch and learn. Grab your favorite lunch and mosey up to your favorite smartphone, tablet, or laptop and listen to an episode that you've been wanting to catch. Grab your partner, supervisor, wife, or anyone you feel would enjoy a benefit from listening. Make it your goal to share the knowledge and listen to learn just one thing. Now, meet John Miller from Freedom Automotive in Stafford, Texas. That's near Houston. John's been at it for 50 years, with 30 of those as a shop owner. I met John at Nace Cars in August 2016, and after just a few minutes realized he has a legacy story to tell. We talked why he will phase out of his collision business, how many hours of training per year he feels techs need to stay current. He talked about his years of sobriety, the incredible support he's gotten from his wife Janice, and he doesn't want to quit, but he's working on a succession plan with his son Jim. John also does a Saturday morning radio show for the last 11 years, and he does it with fellow shop owner Lynn Beckwith. For 2 hours every Saturday morning, they host Auto Mojo Radio, and it can be heard as a podcast. See a link to the show on the show notes page. He says that he's seeing the third generation of his customers become customers. Isn't that a great thing? Now listen to this straight shooter as he says, it is an ongoing educational experience to work on cars. Now, ain't that the truth? Now, here we go with John Miller. A warm welcome to John Miller from Freedom Automotive in Stafford, Texas. Hey, John, are you ready to share your incredible results?
Oh, yes, I am. Well, let's go to work.
Let's do it, man. I want to ask you, you've been around the horn a little bit, a lot of years in this business, huh?
Yes, I've been here a while.
All right. So I know this is a tough request, but can you think back in all the years you've been in business and give us your most memorable story?
Oh, Lord. Yeah, there's so many stories, so many people. The stories are all about the people, the crazy people. I guess 1969, that far enough back?
Whoa.
Had a customer driving a 54 Chevrolet Bel Air. Not Bel Air, Biscayne, I guess it was. And she was coming in complaining about a noise every time she turned a corner. And she'd leave the car, and I'd go drive it. And couldn't find no noise, and I'd go drive it and couldn't find no noise and give it back to her, and she'd come back a week or two later, same thing. So finally, I learned a valuable lesson here. Go for a ride with the customer. Finally, she came in with the car, and I said, well, why don't you drive it and let me ride? And she was wearing a sweater that had these big old, almost bells on the cuffs. And every time she turned the steering wheel, they'd jingle and jangle on the steering wheel. And that was the noise she was turning the wheel. Say, see there, that's it. That's the noise.
I've heard similar stories like that in the past where there was there was a pop can in the back of the trunk or something like that, right?
Right. And the lesson I learned was go for a ride with the customer. You can never get too much information from the customer.
And I bet you tell that story to all your service writers that you've had over the years, yeah?
I do, and they think I'm making it up, but it's the honest to God true story. I was about 19, maybe 20 years old at the time.
Oh, boy. Well, that almost gives away your age a little bit right now. And what does that mean? Does that mean you're working on a succession plan here?
I'm working on a succession plan. They call it SON. Yeah.
Capital S-O-N. All right.
Yeah, he's been with me 20 years, and
Okay.
that is my exit plan. He's now my general manager.
Okay.
Has been so for about 5 years now. He's doing a pretty good job of it.
All right. So family succession, is that a greater challenge for you than if you were just selling it to someone?
Yes. There's always the interaction between fathers and sons or fathers and daughters. There's always the expectations, that we place on each other. And I think that makes it much more difficult. It's not just business, it's family.
Yeah. So
it does make it more challenging. And I think that's one of the decisions that I made years ago in the business. There's two ways to run one of these things. You can run it just to make every buck you can get that comes in the door. Mm-hmm. Or you can run it as a family business, neighborhood oriented, kick back and relaxed type thing, because you're going to be here a long time. So why not enjoy it?
Right.
And that was the attitude my wife and I took when we started it. And we may not do some of the things that other good businessmen say we should be doing in our business to increase the profitability, but we do it the way we do it because we're comfortable. We like to be able to associate with our clients and, after work and outside without having to be without ducking around the end of the aisle at Kroger's because somebody you pissed off yesterday is in line.
Well, that is such a great point.
Yeah.
If you're that involved in the community, in the church, and like you say, if you're out shopping for groceries, you want to embrace everyone you see because they've probably, over all the years, you've been around, 50 plus years?
I've been in the business 50 years, had my own shop 30 years now.
I mean, you must be so well known in the marketplace. And to your point, I guess you're saying you could do different things, but you do.
Yeah, you can run one by the numbers, and we see these multiple outlet stores that do that. They run them from a central office someplace based solely on the numbers.
Yeah.
And, I'm not running a numbers business. I'm running a people business.
So are you the old general store of yesteryear?
That's a good analogy. It really is. It's a real good analogy. We try to take care of the people that come in. We get to know them and their kids. Hell, we're working on third generation of a lot of our customers now. So that's really special.
How about your people that work for you? How long they've been around?
The longest guy has been here 27 years.
Wow.
My service writer, my lead service writer has been with me 11. My body shop manager has been with me 10. They've been here a while. A couple of the body men have been back there 16, 18 years.
All right, succession planning. I'm your son, and your succession plan is son. Without putting you on the spot, man, I'm your son. I'm sitting down across the desk from you, and I say, Dad, give me your wisest words. What should I be doing?
Tell the truth. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. When you're dealing with the people at the front counter, when you're dealing with your employees, when you're dealing with your vendors, just tell them how it is. They'll pick up on that. They'll know the honesty carries a certain weight with it.
And truth gets you trust, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And you don't have to worry about it next week when they come back remembering, what story did I tell this guy?
Wow. Great words. You know that 70% of professional technicians install Moog? Do you know who is best in class in engineering R&D? Do you know who holds 47 patents and has 28 dedicated engineers on staff? Yeah, Moog. You should know that 85% of Moog socket-style components are manufactured in North America, and that makes Moog best in class for manufacturing. And since 1966, every NASCAR championship has been won on Moog parts. But you knew that. I know why you install Moog. They solve your problems. Over the years, Moog has provided problem-solving innovations like a patented pressed-in cover plate, powdered metal gusher-bearing technology, compression-loaded ball joints with a pre-installed integral dust boot, and vertical control arm bushings. You know why you install Moog. Enhanced durability, improved performance, and ease of installation. For more information, go to moogparts.com. Now you know. Now, I met you in Anaheim at the NACE Cars event.
Yes, that was a terrific event.
Yeah, it was. Great to meet you. In fact, I had to walk up to this, guy who looks like he was a hippie from the 60s.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And it was Todd Westerlin from Kukui who introduced us, and he said, you got to interview this real wise guy. And he didn't mean wise by being,
Yeah, smart aleck.
Yeah, smart aleck. And so what was your big takeaway from NACE Cars?
My biggest takeaway from NACE Cars is I'm going to work my way out of the collision repair business.
Whoa. Okay, let's talk about that. And the reasons are?
There's a myriad of reasons. A lot of it has to do with technology. The more and more accident avoidance technology they put on cars, the fewer accidents there'll be. They just predict that the adaptive cruise control is going to reduce rear-end collisions by 60%, which is, rear-end collisions are probably 50% of our workload.
Right.
That and then the technology in the cars themselves, the metal structures, the different techniques, equipment, training, certifications you need to work on all the different components of different makes and models is number one, cost prohibitive for a small shop.
Sure.
But number two, exposes you to a tremendous amount of liability. If you don't do one particular metal in this car right and something happens, well, your business, your whole livelihood is on the line for it. Not that I'm afraid of not being able to do it right. But there again, it goes back to the investment in it. Because of the high technology of vehicles, there are going to be more and more total loss vehicles. Front end, headlamps and bumper and grill that used to be pretty straightforward and maybe $1,500, $2,000 now going to be $4,000 or $5,000. There's radar sensors and sonar sensors in the front of these things now that cost a couple of $1,000s just for that.
Yep. I see your point. It's a good point because collision's what, a percentage of your business right now?
Right now, collision's about 50% of my business.
Well, that's a big chunk to replace.
It is, but with a few changes in-house and whatnot, I think we can make the change. We may lose some revenue and a little bit of bottom line as a result of it, but we'll shed ourselves of a lot of liability and, quite frankly, a lot of headaches with all the ongoing training and stuff we'll have to have going forward.
If I was your son sitting down again with you and I heard you say, okay, we're going to figure out maybe phasing out a collision, or not maybe, but you're going to. Is there any special thing you would say to him? Listen, let's work on this and let's start building that. What would it be?
A couple of different things. One, we want to build our fleet business more.
Okay.
We have a small percentage of our business that's fleet, probably 20%, 15 to 20%. And we want to build more of that because I think that's going to be an evening factor going forward to even out the workload month to month.
Yeah.
And then we want to build our niche business a little bit. By niche business, I mean there's a lot of people my age, the baby boomers out there, who like to keep their older cars and keep them up. We have a 65 Pontiac convertible in here right now we're working on, restoring it for a guy.
Yeah, that's
and a few other cars like that.
Yeah, so restorations.
Yeah, maybe not complete restorations are really cost prohibitive, but to keep an old car in safe, drivable condition is a little bit different story.
So here I have a 57 Chevy. I don't show it, but I just love my car, and you want to say, hey, you want to be the magnet for that.
Right. To keep it reasonably stock, make whatever upgrades we need to make for safety, but we're not going to put $40,000 into it to make a show car.
I got it. Hey, are you working your butt off every day, or are you slowly taking it easy?
Actually, I'm kind of taking it easy. That NACE trip is a typical example. We took 2 weeks to go to NACE.
Okay.
Spent 9 days getting out there on motorcycles.
Oh, my.
I'm trying to do more and more of that. I'm a journalist with Texas Auto Writers Association.
Okay. All right.
And next week I'm going to be off for a week to go to what they call the truck rodeo, where the manufacturers bring the new vehicles, the 17 model vehicles in for us to take and run them through their paces off-road and on-road.
All right.
So I get things like that nowadays that I consider part of my job.
And tell me about Mojo Radio.
Auto Mojo Radio. We started, actually, I took over a radio show from somebody who was doing a remote broadcast. Mm-hmm. He was in San Antonio. Our show's in Houston. He had it for a year and wasn't getting any traction with it. And I took it over from him, and we've been doing it now for 11 years since then. We're on a 6 a.m. in the morning drive time on the weekends.
Okay.
So it's early morning stuff, but we have a very loyal listener base. We're the number 2 rated show on Saturday mornings.
Excellent. Now, I see that you do it with co-hosts. How's that work?
Yeah, I tried doing it by myself, but it's an awful lonesome place in a radio studio when you're all by yourself. You ought to know that.
Uh-huh.
Having somebody to talk to makes time go better.
Right.
So originally it was my brother. Unfortunately, he came down with cancer, and he passed away about 5 years ago. And my son fills in on and off. But Lynn Beckwith from Beckwith's Car Care, up in Humble, about 50 miles north of me here. An amazing lady, been in the automotive business all her life. She's had her own shop now for 28 years, and just a fountain of information. And she co-hosts it with me, and having a female personality on there really does help the show.
I bet you it does. Well, you know what? Can I tune in from like
iHeartRadio? You can tune in any place in the world.
Great.
If you want to catch the podcast later on, you can go onto iTunes and find our podcast under Auto Mojo Radio.
Excellent. Wow, that's good. Another podcast. We need more of them. I believe you would agree that being a top tech is real hard work. Keeping up is a full-time gig, considering vehicle technology, repair procedures, and diagnostics. It's refreshing to know that Federal Mogul Motor Parts' Garage Guru is there for you. It's been designed by and for technicians, the best in the industry. And did you know there's no other comprehensive program like this anywhere? A big part of the program is the nationwide network of Guru's on-site training and technology centers. There, you can get your hands dirty with the equipment and tools you use every day in real work-related situations. When online is your perfect way to learn, do it with Guru's 24/7 online academy with a huge catalog of training course options. And with the Guru's on-the-go technology fleet, they bring the latest products and demos right to your shop. And this year, you get free stuff from the Garage Rewards loyalty program. You earn points towards gear from your favorite Federal Mogul Motor Parts' brands. And what is really great, it costs nothing to join, and you'll start earning points immediately. So head on over to fmgaragegurus.com and learn all about Garage Gurus training, support, and get in on the rewards. Hey, any great habits that you've learned over the years that you'd love to share with our listener?
You know, being a sole proprietor can be a dangerous thing, being in your own business. But I work for my company. See, I have a job. I work for my company.
Okay. Even
though I may own the company, I am still an employee in my company. And I treat myself as such. And I think that makes a difference in my attitude about a lot of things, about being able to sit at my desk during the day and goof off, play solitaire on a computer or something. I feel like I owe the business to earn my paycheck.
Got it. I understand. I mean, that's how boomers were raised.
It is. It's I don't know, maybe it's a mental quirk we had from our age group, but I don't see that a whole lot in the younger folks. But, we won't get into that.
No, let's not do that because, in many cases, some of the younger folks do have it. It's just a little different way. It's a different way of expressing.
It's the different motivations and different focus than what we had as baby boomers.
So you talk about the all the autonomous car and all the new safety features going on the collision side. How is it going to affect the mechanical side?
The mechanical side's a challenge too. Maybe I'm not as leery of it because it's what I've done all my life. And you got to remember, when I first started fixing cars for a living, a positive crankcase ventilation valve was new technology.
Okay. All right.
And
all right.
the old hands in the shop said a car will never run right with a vacuum leak as big as your thumb. And they were plugging them up.
I do remember that. Yeah. We weren't selling a lot of PCV valves back in the day, and we were wondering why.
Yeah, because the old mechanics were plugging up the hole. But I've seen technology change over the years through the early emission Clean Air Act days with all the 9 miles of vacuum wiring on them, through the 80s and the computer generation and fuel injection. And I've seen all this progression, and it's expected now. I expect to see the changes. I expect the technology. I expect to have to go to training to read almost every day. Fortunately, now it's online. I don't have to dig the books out, wait for the magazine to come in each month. I can read so much online now, but it's an ongoing educational experience to work on cars.
How are you getting training to your technicians?
Several different ways. Online is a lot of it, through either online seminars or just online reading.
Okay.
A lot of it is actual classes, hands-on classes. Those are probably less frequent than they used to be.
Okay.
And they are much more expensive than they used to be, but the ones that we do attend are much better classes.
All right. Your opinion, based on the flow of technology today, if you were a tech, how many hours a year do you think you need to have to stay current?
Probably 100 hours a year, a couple hours a week, 50 weeks a year, 100, probably 100 hours a year to stay current.
A very interesting number. Hey, I see you do a monthly newsletter. Who writes that?
I do. I write, we do a monthly shop newsletter and for our radio show. And that's been something I've done since probably 97, 98, somewhere around there.
Unbelievable.
We used to mail it. Now we email it.
Okay, I noticed, and you can go right on your site and get any back issue.
Yeah,
a lot of great information there. Hey, if you wanted to look back over the 50 years, is there any one thing you would want to do over?
Carm, I get asked that question in different contexts, but my answer has always been the same. Everything that's happened to me, everything I've done, everything that's been done to me is what's gotten me where I am today. And I'm real happy where I am today.
Got it.
So I wouldn't change. I'd be afraid if I changed anything, I'd end up in a different place.
Great answer. So what's the best advice you've ever been given by anyone in the industry?
There was a guy I used to work for many years ago named Clem York, had a little shop over in Pasadena. And he said, John, if you don't understand how it works, you'll never be able to figure out how to fix it.
Whew. Wow.
Yeah. And I've lived with that since. And it's very true.
Boy, you could paste that up on the wall.
Yeah.
And every person who's ever been affected by your life could look at that, read it, and understand it, and do it.
Yeah.
Wow. That still holds true today, huh?
Yes, it does.
Well, hey, John, what else should I know about John Miller?
I really don't know how to answer that. I'm 10 pounds of ego in a 5-pound sack. Yeah. I love doing the radio show because it feeds my ego. I love owning my own business.
Yeah.
I love more than anything getting up front in the waiting room and talking with the customers and, just seeing what's going on with them and their lives and their kids or parents or whatever the case may be. I've had my challenges in my life. I struggled with alcohol when I was younger. I managed to figure out a way not to have to do that anymore. I've been happily married to the wife I've got now for many, many years. And I think she's been a major part of why I'm successful. Without her to be accountable to, there's no telling where I'd ended up.
Boy, that's the ticket right there, the accountability factor.
Yes.
Great story. Thank you. Have you ever helped other people with any addictions?
Yeah, I've learned a valuable lesson. My business is not a treatment center. I've tried to work with people with active addictions here, and that turned out to be a disaster. But I do work with some outside of the business. Great.
You've created a family environment with your people.
Yes, I have. And that is part of it. We spend probably more time with each other at work than we get to spend with our wives and family. So we need to at least be comfortable, if not enjoy being here.
Well, you've shared so many great pieces of wisdom. I have to tell you, I love the things you said. Any final great pieces of wisdom that you live every day that you'd share with our listener?
Well, at this point in my life, I turned 67 last month.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. I think the one thing I missed was that I didn't spend enough time having fun. Going off doing this and that and the other. I spent a lot of time at work that maybe I didn't need to. So enjoy your life while you can, because there's no telling where you'll be. That's not to say abdicate your responsibilities and take off, but be sure that when you're doing your business plan, you plan in some fun time too.
How many times have we all heard it from incredibly wise people, and yet we are regretful when we get older not to have done what we knew we should have.
Yeah, well, what's the old saying? I've never met anybody on his deathbed saying he wished he'd spend more time at work.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You're a workaholic. I'm a workaholic. I can relate to that, and I know what you mean, man.
And giving up, for me, this business is part of me. And getting up control is very, very difficult.
I can't imagine. If I was your son, I'd be trying to grab it out of your hands.
He is. He encourages me to disappear every chance I get.
Take his keys away.
Yeah. Change the alarm code while he's gone.
Incredibly refreshing interviews. Thank you so much, John Miller from Freedom Automotive in Stafford, Texas.
Well, Carmen, it was a pleasure to meet you at NACE, and I'm glad Todd took the time to introduce us.
Thanks, man. Yes, thanks, John Miller, for your very candid interview. John was so honest with his addiction, and that's what makes for incredible moments in podcasting. You learned about a legacy shop operator who will change his business model as he phases out of the collision business, and you learned about his succession plan ideas with his son Jim, and so much more. For show notes and an extended bio on John, go to remarkableresults.biz/E161. That's also the place where you can watch my weekly Facebook Live reruns and subscribe to be an insider. You are an important reason I bring you these interviews, so you can profit from the wisdom found in each episode. So help spread the word. Your help is needed to unite our industry, and I'm grateful for your support. Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from another inspiring aftermarket professional. Until next time.